Hey everybody, I'm David.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are full-time gays.
And this week, we're gonna give you a sneak peek tour of a park that's so new, it's not even open yet.
Join us. Hey everybody, welcome to our latest video here on our new channel, Full-Time Gays. We're going to talk this week not about a campground that we spent a week or two at like we've been doing, because we didn't spend a week or two at this place.
And the reason for that is because it's not even open yet.
It won't open until spring of 2021, and it's called Camp Boomerang RV Park and Campground.
In Orleans, Michigan.
Orleans.
Not New Orleans.
This is a place that's in mid-Michigan. It's north of I-96, a little bit north of Lansing, just north of a town called Ionia. And it's going to be the third LGBT campground in Michigan, behind Camp It in Saugatuck. There's also Creek Ridge, which is near Jackson, Michigan. And then this one, just north of Ionia in Orleans. Now the funny thing is, there's a big prison right in Jackson, right by Creek Ridge, and there's a big prison complex just outside of Ionia. And there's just got to be a gay campground thing with prisons in Michigan.
Your apps are gonna blow up.
Yeah, and the best part is, and you can't make this up, one of the correctional facilities I found on Google Maps next to Ionia is called Bellamy. I mean, really? All right, so what we're gonna do is, since we didn't stay there, other than to do our tour and to talk to the owners, we're gonna go through our 4 categories: big rig friendliness, grounds and facilities, the vibe, and then the internet. But we're not gonna rate it. We're just gonna talk about what we know and what we expect.
Exactly.
Okay, so start us off with big rig friendliness.
Yeah, so again, we didn't bring the trailer, we had just the truck with us. And but driving up in there, it was super easy. It was right off a state highway, wide lanes, flat, no curves. Getting into the park, it's a former mobile home park, so most of the roads are already paved. Some of them do need to be repaired, which is on their agenda.
Actually, we saw them doing some of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of nice about big rig friendliness is the owners kind of have a story kind of like what we have right now, where they have been RV owners for a decade or more. They spent a couple of years living in it full time, going around to campgrounds.
Were they full time?
For a couple of years at the end.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they still own their property, but I think they were living in their RV. Anyways, they were going around to various gay campgrounds across the country and looking to see what works and what doesn't work, so they know what to put in and not put into their own park. Yeah,
it's a great story. They come into this with eyes wide open, and not every gay campground was started by people in that situation.
Right.
And it shows sometimes. So I have full confidence, because of their knowledge, that it's going to continue to be big rig friendly. Now, in terms of the grounds and facilities, the way that they're building, actually it's huge. It's like an 80-acre plot of land. It's right off this state highway called 66. As he said, no issues getting into it. They're going to break up their park into sort of sections. They're going to have what they call premium sites, which are, if you think of like the fancy RV, like motor coach parks in Florida, that's what they're going to model them after. So they're not going to have decks, but they're going to have like a paved driveway and a paved slab and a paved patio and a really big spacious site.
Yep, and they're going to come with other services like lawn care and trash pickup.
Right, and they have 54, 55 of those premium sites, which will all be ready by next year. And in addition to that, they're going to have 13, I guess, non-premium sites, which is what we would think of as
like a step down, but not really a step down, but a step down to a normal campground.
Yeah, like what a typical campground has. It would be their non-premium sites, and those ones you could build a deck on. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about is I'm a big fan of big fancy decks, and a lot of gay campgrounds, especially gay campgrounds, they take a lot of pride in that kind of stuff. We have a huge deck.
We like big decks.
At home at Grizzly Pines. And so my thinking is, it's interesting that the sites on which you can build a deck are the smaller sites, but again, to your earlier point, they know what they're doing, and so I'm really hopeful that those sites are big enough to still accommodate that kind of a thing. In addition to the site, they've got a whole tenters area
Yeah. One of the things I liked what they did for the tenter area is you typically see this in most parks. It's in a wooded area with a bunch of overhangs, so they don't have to bake out in the sun. But it's usually very separated from the rest of the park. So the parks will either have fun times in where the trailers are parked or a communal area around the pool. And what they've done to make sure the tenters don't feel left out is they put the communal firing in their area. So on those colder nights when that fire is needed, everyone's going to come down to the tenting area instead of the tenters having to leave their sites to go someplace else.
Yeah, that's really cool. And of those 68 sites, by the way, 50 of them are seasonal sites.
Yeah.
And they don't open for 6 more months. We're at the end of October of 2020. How many sites are left seasonal?
I believe it was 0.
They've got 50 seasonals already signed up 6 months before they even open their doors, which is pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, that's going to speak volumes to our vibe section when we get to it. A couple of things I also wanted to add about the grounds and facilities is their main communal area is around the pool. There's going to be a big, huge pool deck for plenty of sunning, but there's also going to be right on side of the pool deck is 6 cabins for weekenders or transients. Not transients.
Not cabins. No, it's just like they're suites. They're not separate buildings.
That's true. That's suites. But it's also going to be connected to their rec center, which is going to have a stage, a bar, pool table, lounge area. So they're putting in all the works. Another thing to mention is transient sites are going to be
that's such an ugly word.
It really is. What else do we call like weekenders or non-seasonals?
Drifters?
Oh, that's worse. How about guest?
I like guests. Oh, now they're all going to steal it.
How do I trademark?
Yeah, they're going to have. Oh, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be dedicated sites for transients, and again, they are thinking about the big rig guest. They have a few pull-through sites that will not go to seasonals. They are going to be big enough to handle the largest of rigs to go in. Giggle.
Bless our hearts. My little inner 7th grader just refuses to die.
Anyways, they're gonna have pull-through sites that will not be for seasonals. They will be for weekend guests, so that it's an easy transition for them in and out.
Okay, good. And in addition to that, because this property is huge, like a full quarter of it is this really big pond.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a swimmable pond. When we were there, it was full of lily pads. It was fall, right? So that happens in any lake in Michigan, or any pond in Michigan. But that's by where the tenters are going to be, like right there on this lake, which is really cool. And in the very far back of the park, in like future expansion plans, because they plan on building, like tens of more sites. Yeah. There's like these 2 ponds that I think are like a super high end sort of sewage system.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stink or anything like that, but
well, just in case, just don't get a site in the back.
Rude. All right, so the vibe, it wasn't open, so it's kind of tough to talk about what the vibe's going to be like, but we have a couple of kind of hints, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the ways that they advertise right now is they don't have a website, so they're using their Facebook page to kind of strum up business and get the discussion going. Is a super active Facebook page. They constantly put updates of what they're doing in the park. I think the last one I saw is they were building roads that connect the 2 main roads between the park. So there's constant updates up there. But what makes the vibe seem like it's going to be good is these updates, the comments that come through that people are super excited to see what this is going to look like in the end. Now that they have signed up some seasonals, people are going on there like, hey, I just signed up for season 2021. I'm in site, blah, blah, blah. Who's going to be my neighbor?
And a little video of it.
Yeah.
And in fact, another really cool thing is they've been very open about giving tours to the park. We're not special that we got some tour of the park. Probably hundreds of people have. And one of the things that a lot of them do is they get into this shell of a pool, which is dug, but it's not done yet. And they do like... poses with their booty. And there's like so many of those on this page. Yeah. Now, did you notice that they didn't ask us to do one of those?
Well, now that you think about it,
we might have to redo this video.
It's a good thing we're not giving a score.
No, but I mean, it's a really vibrant community. There's a lot of pent-up excitement. I was actually a little bit curious as to whether the campground market in Michigan could handle a third gay campground. Clearly, that was a misplaced worry.
Yeah.
Because all three places are large.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're drawing from others, maybe some, but it seems like there's plenty of market left in Michigan for gay campgrounds. And you know, the internet isn't something that we'll talk a whole lot about because
we didn't bring our hotspot with us.
Yeah.
We didn't have our computers with us, so all we had was our phones. But they worked.
Yeah,
So,
they worked, and presumably AT&T would work. I mean, it's on a pretty major road next to a pretty, not major city, it's a town, it's a larger town.
Yep.
Ionia, Orleans is probably smaller.
Yep.
But we know Verizon works, we expect AT&T would work, maybe T-Mobile.
T-Mobile?
What about Sprint?
I don't know.
One never does with Sprint. But bottom line is, this is a place that you know, Brian and Matt have created, or are in the process of creating. They've spared no expense. They must be loaded or won the lottery or have, I think he said he had a toy box and he sold a bunch of stuff out of his toy box. I don't know what that means, but they're really working hard in this place. They're making quick progress. They've clearly got a good buzz going. They've got 50 seasonals already sold out for the first season. Now, to be fair, it is half price this year.
Yes.
So that might have helped some.
Right.
But you know, that's also a good marketing strategy too. And so I can't wait for the chance to get to go see this place. Hopefully next year if we get ourselves back up to Michigan.
That would be awesome, but if they're selling out of their sites already, I'm not sure if they're going to have space for us to come visit.
Hopefully they'll find a way to fit us in. But yeah, no scores, but everything that we saw makes me think that they're going to build a very special place. They've got the land, they've got the infrastructure, and what they don't have, they're building.
They have the knowledge, they have the experience on what a campground should be like.
Yeah, and it's easy to get to. So, I mean, all the factors that go into their favor are there. Hopefully, it's as good as we think it's going to be. We encourage you to check it out.
Yeah. So in the end, please like and subscribe our videos. We're trying to get this channel up and moving so that we can get to tap into a bigger audience, and that
we're brand new.
Yeah, and maybe encourage other folks to try campgrounds out for the first time. Also, leave us some comments on what you think we should do in our reviews, whether it be another park, whether it be another factor that we should put in.
Well, we're not on the road all the time, and so we want to post videos while we're not traveling. So what kinds of things would you be interested in hearing more about gay camping, about RVing, about full-time RV living? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note,
I think it's time.
It's time. Let's do it. We are
In it together.